Imagine waking up tomorrow, and suddenly, the world's entire population is required to live in complete darkness for 48 hours every week. No lights, no windows, no glowing phone screens. For 2 full days each week, you're plunged into total blackness, with no way to see anything around you. Sounds strange, right? But in this what-if scenario, we're going to explore how this drastic change would affect every aspect of our lives. So, let's dive in and see what living in total darkness for half of every week would really be like. First, let's talk about the immediate impact. At first, the thought of 48 hours without any light might sound like a nightmare. People would likely panic when the lights go out for the first time, unsure of what to expect or how to handle the sudden loss of vision. The first few hours would probably be filled with confusion, fear, and uncertainty. Imagine trying to go about your daily routine, but everything is pitch black. You couldn't see your phone, the clock on the wall, or even your own hands. The absence of light would likely throw everyone off balance. It would be a time for people to rely on their other senses, touch, hearing, and smell, in ways they never had to before. Homes, offices, and public spaces would need to adapt quickly, with everyone scrambling to find new ways to function in a world where darkness is a recurring, unavoidable reality. As we adjust to this new way of life, you'd likely see major shifts in how people organize their days. Businesses, for instance, would have to make dramatic changes to accommodate these dark hours. Stores, restaurants, and offices might close down during the dark period or adapt their work schedules to fit around the darkness. Think about how stores would stock up or plan for sales, how restaurant menus would change to become more easy to prepare during these dark hours. You'd also see businesses that cater to life in the dark, things like glow-in-the-dark gadgets, light-sensitive apps, or even services designed to help people move around in complete darkness. People might begin scheduling their meetings, events, and social activities according to this 48-hour window, which would completely flip the structure of a traditional workweek. Now, the health implications would be huge. Living without natural light for half of the week would take a toll on our mental and physical well-being. Without sunlight, our bodies wouldn't get the vitamin D we rely on to keep our bones strong and our immune systems functioning properly. But the lack of sunlight wouldn't just affect our bodies. It could also have a massive impact on our mental health. Seasonal affective disorder, or SAD, which many people experience during the winter months due to less sunlight, might become a more widespread issue. People might feel more depressed, sluggish, or disconnected because their bodies are not getting the natural cues they need to regulate their sleep cycles and energy levels. Over time, people would probably start to get creative, building artificial light sources or even relying on new technologies like light therapy to combat the emotional toll of living in perpetual darkness. And speaking of sleep cycles, think about how this would affect everyone's internal clocks. Humans are naturally tuned to the light-dark cycle, so when you take that away for 2 days a week, your body would have a tough time adjusting. People's sleep patterns could become completely out of whack, with some individuals struggling to sleep when they're supposed to and others staying up far longer than they should. With no natural light to guide us, we'd have to rely on artificial means to tell time, clocks, alarms, and reminders, and that could create a society where people's sleep schedules become increasingly erratic. This could make productivity and focus harder for many people, as the lack of daylight would blur the lines between night and day. Socially, things would change too. Imagine trying to have a dinner party or a social gathering in total darkness. At first, it might seem like fun, but eventually, the novelty would wear off. Conversations would be strange, and people might struggle with communication without the benefit of body language and facial expressions. Socializing would require a lot more effort, and people might even find themselves retreating into smaller groups or staying home more often, simply because interacting in the dark could feel uncomfortable. On the other hand, maybe this would bring some people closer together. Since there would be no distractions or visual cues, people might learn to connect on a deeper level through sound, touch, and conversation alone. The technology world would also experience a shift. Imagine trying to work, communicate, or get information in complete darkness. How would you navigate the web, attend virtual meetings, or answer emails? You'd likely see a massive surge in voice-activated technologies, like smart assistants and voice control devices designed to help people function during their dark periods. Businesses and companies might invest heavily in making their services more accessible without the need for sight. There could be a rise in audio-based entertainment, podcasts, and audiobooks, with people turning to their ears instead of their eyes for entertainment and information. In some ways, this could lead to a whole new wave of innovation in technology, but it would certainly come with its own set of challenges as we adjust to living without visual input for half of every week. The world of transportation would also change dramatically. Imagine driving a car or riding a bike through a city with no lights to guide you. Roads and highways would need to be redesigned with safety in mind, using reflective materials, sound cues, and other innovative technologies to ensure people can still get around safely in the dark. Cars would likely be outfitted with more advanced sensors, infrared technologies, and sound-based navigation systems, allowing people to drive without the benefit of streetlights. Public transportation systems would have to adjust, too, maybe using more tactile or auditory systems to help passengers navigate stations and vehicles. On a global scale, we'd see new industries rise and old ones fall. The entertainment industry, for example, might pivot to more immersive, audio-centric experiences, while industries reliant on constant access to light, like agriculture or tourism, might struggle to adapt. Some cities might become famous for their ability to thrive in darkness, creating a whole new set of tourism opportunities. Meanwhile, industries like lighting, tech, and health would experience boom periods as they innovate to meet the needs of people living in half-darkness. You might even see a spike in businesses offering dark retreats, where people intentionally spend time in total darkness for rest and rejuvenation. But it would also raise questions about privacy and security. With no light, how would we ensure safety in cities and neighborhoods? How would we protect ourselves from crime or accidents in a world where you can't see your surroundings? Living in complete darkness for 48 hours a week would force us to rethink so much of what we take for granted in our modern lives. It would challenge our dependence on light and force us to discover new ways of navigating the world, socially, technologically, and emotionally. It would definitely be tough at first, but over time, humanity would adapt, finding new ways to thrive in a world that's half dark, half light. So, what do you think? Could you survive a world where you live in complete darkness for 2 days every week? Or would it be a bit too much to handle? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more wild what-if scenarios here at What If Factory. Until next time, stay lit, or well in the dark.